I'm Brent the Sanctimonious. No, I just I don't know why I wanted to do that. But anyway, I am Brent Leary.
I am not even going to respond to that. I am Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM players, and as we found out earlier this year, we've been bringing the ads since 2009.
And someday we'll be able to tell you what that actually is, but right now we don't really know.
Now, but
If anyone
maybe
has an idea what the AS is, besides telling me what I always say anyway, which is it's the abbreviation for the state of Arizona, if somebody knows what it is, please tell us.
we know who knows who it is, and his name is Austin.
That's right. However, he's not in his namesake Texas town.
Absolutely. All right. Well, the moment his Finn has arrived. Well, the dude is going back to paragraphs again.
Wow. Now let's see. Al conduce CX dar fará date al nu este nimic. Whoa, this one's not that easy. It's tricky.
Looks like he's mixing languages.
That's what I was thinking too, but I'm guessing he isn't. What would that would mean? It would be a border if he's doing something that looks like mixed languages. I would tend to think it would be like a border dialect, like Basque or something like that. Now this one, conduce di cliente oreche clientul.
I got the CX part and the AI.
Yeah, I'm also it's the A's that are throwing me. Because he has A's with the
tilde thingy.
Well, he has the tilde, some, and then or is this the tilde and the caret? Yeah, the tilde and the caret, both A's are there.
Sounds like a good podcast name.
This has an Italian kind of ishness to it too.
So, what is it?
Well, wow. This is one of the hardest ones yet. I am going to be way off base and just say Basque. I don't think that's right though. Nah, I don't want to say that.
All right, Sven, you're gonna have to.
Don't ID it yet. Let's leave it.
we got a lot of show here.
Yeah, we got a big show, but I will come up with an answer.
And you've got other questions to answer, and you know what that means.
Oh God. Well, if I delay Sven long enough, maybe not.
Sven, put it in there. You need an answer because you're gonna have to go with.
I'll say Basque just because I have no other option.
I'm saying with pass.
I'm saying Basque. I don't know that one. This one really threw me.
All right.
One of the first times I've been fully thrown by a language.
Fully thrown. All right, Sven, let us know what it is. And in the meantime, oh my God, it is a paragraph. Let me pop this up.
Romanian.
Wow.
Yeah, that makes sense.
AI is driving CX, but without data, AI is nothing. This is a greeting. Where's the hello?
How is this a hello?
I'm looking for the howdy friends, that kind of thing. And we're getting like full-blown CX and AI here. All right.
Maybe it was written by Romanian ChatGPT.
Maybe. All right. So we are the CRM players. We are back from numerous events at this point in time. And some of the events that we didn't go to, we knew people that went to them. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to talk about all that stuff. We're going to bring in a round robin of our crew of folks to talk about events, Dreamforce, Cloud World, Adobe Max, Zoomtopia.
Probably also we've got like Infor and Workday and all these other ones too.
So, and we're not even towards the complete end of the year, but that's enough events. We got enough to talk about just for those. So we're gonna do that in a little bit. But before we do, this is PPN. We got the promos and stuff. So tomorrow, this is gonna be fun. Friday the 13th. We are going to do what's in store in 2024 on Friday the 13th. We're not afraid. Me and Don Sherman are not afraid. CTO and VP of Marketing and Technology Strategy at Pega. We're not afraid to go out on a limb on a Friday the 13th and claim to the world that we know exactly what's going to happen next year.
That's going to be interesting. That is even going to be more interesting than I look. It's always an interesting show when Don Sherman and you are in the same room. But given that you're going to tell us what's happening next year, I'm going to hold you to all of it. Right?
Well,
Ale Fiend.
there are never enough events. I miss living out. Yeah, who is this?
I don't know, but I'm guessing. Does that mean you really like beer, Ale Fiend?
Wow, hey, why not? I like that. And matter of fact, hold on to that ale part, not necessarily the fiend, but the ale. There's going to be a bridge that I'm going to cross in a minute or two. But
I
anyway, so
assume over the River Kwai.
no, I'm not with Sir Alec Guinness. Guinness, get it? All right, yeah. I better save some of this good stuff for Friday the 13th. Anyway, so join me and Don Sherman if you have some ideas about what may be a big deal next year. You want to throw it out there, bring it. We will, we may think you're completely crazy, or we may think you're right. So join us.
Oh, look who it was.
Oh, what? Oh,
Whoa,
wow.
Marshall,
Okay.
way to go. Woo.
Cool
Marshall
Mo
Sub
Lager.
Rosa Marshall.
Yeah, okay. I like that better than the other name, which we will not bring up anymore. All right. So, but next week I will be at Sweet World, and I
Not
will be
me.
spending a few good minutes with Evan Goldberg, who is the founder of NetSuite, and now he's the EVP of Oracle NetSuite. And I'll get a chance to sit down and spend a few good minutes with him. Don't necessarily know the time yet, but I'm looking forward to it. You know what? Because we've been speaking to all these founders that have been, founded these companies decades ago, and they're still there and they're still thriving, and they've done tremendous things. And Evan is in the same vein. He's celebrating 25 years this year for NetSuite, so I'm looking forward to that next week. Next week, Sweet World. And if you are in Vegas, I'm sorry. I mean, if you are in Vegas, say hello.
If I'm you, I would have said, if you're in Vegas, don't bother to look me up. Don't bother to look me up. I am definitely not going to NetSuite next Sweet World. One of the benefits of semi-retirement, as I've told all these companies, one conference per company. That's it. So Salesforce, not Connect, Dreamforce. Oracle, Cloud World, it's not Sweet World.
All right. Well, speaking of Marshall, last week we were all hanging out in London, jolly old England, for a sweet. What was it? The sweet, not the sweet. And see, I got NetSuite and sugar. I mean, how can you not get tongue tied with NetSuite and sugar, right? So anyway, so last week it was Sugar CRM Analyst Summit. So we were all hanging out, and I had to get a chance to hang out with a lot of the sugar folks. And, we always talk about how there's a lot of turnover at all these companies. Well, you know what? Maybe there's not as much turnover as we think, because here's another example of folks that have been there forever. Well, at least two of the three folks have been there a very long time, and Craig Charlton, the CEO, he's been there for about 5 years already.
Yeah.
But Clint, the man with the to the far right there, with the nice smile and the nice handkerchief there too,
the little pocket.
Yeah, he is the co-founder. He's been there since the beginning. Rich Green has been there for what, at least 9 or 10 years?
Yeah, I think he's broken a decade already.
Yeah, so you know what? Maybe it's not. Maybe there's more people staying longer than we give credit to, because we talked about Zoho, and we talk about them all the time. Pega. We could talk about some of these other companies, Salesforce. We've known people there for years. Maybe there's more people that are in these places that are staying and being a part of this, building for longer than we think about it. Because a lot of times we think about the people, oh, they're there now, they're there, oh, they're there, and they're. But there are a lot of people that have been around these companies for quite some time. Yeah, but anyway. So last week there, and I got a chance to look, two things. You can't really see it, but our mutual friend Sarita. Make sure I get this. She gave me something. She said she's been having this with her for like the last year, waiting to give it to me, but for whatever reason, she hadn't done it. Look what she bought me. Can you see that?
Yeah. Oh, wow. It's like a team bobblehead. I can't
Yeah,
believe
it's for the Super Bowl 56 champion.
Oh, that's the part I can't quite see because at the bottom is. Okay,
See it
got
there?
it. Wow. That is so, yes.
Yeah, so that's very cool. And I was
That's
blown
amazing.
away. Yeah. So thank you, Sarita. I appreciate it. Now, the other thing is I did a few good minutes with excuse me, Craig, Rich, and Clint. Excuse me. And I've been dropping clips the last couple of days. But I wanted to play this one specifically for you. And you'll know why in a minute.
Okay. I'm always wary.
Can't ask you a football question. But I know, based on last year hanging out with you and Paul Greenberg, where I was just watching you guys talk about different kind of liquor. What is there any over the last year? Is there a new liquor, a new favorite liquor for Craig Charles?
Oh, I mean, I love my American Zinfandels. I love my American Cabs. What am I doing? Shiraz Viognier. I'm a big Australian Shiraz Viognier fan. And also love
that it's
Shiraz Viognier.
okay.
As a mix?
And outside of that, Amarone in Italy, we had a wonderful bottle the other night with the partners. Okay, a little bit on the expensive side. It was
Only bring that out for the good part.
It was great. So yeah, continuing to explore my wines.
Wow. Now that is peculiar. He says Shiraz Viognier. One's a red wine. It sounded like we're talking about a blend. And one's a red wine and one's a white wine. So that is odd.
Oh.
I am going to have to ask him about that.
Something for you guys to talk about.
That is. I got to go. I have to call him.
Anyway, so it was a good trip, and we'll be putting up all the few good minute segments from that. Okay. Now, before we bring all the folks on, and we're going to have like a staggered, matter of fact, I can show you exactly what's going to be coming to you guys. Look at that. You notice how like the first three folks are smiling and cheery, like Liz and Bob and Dave. And then you move to that other side and it's like, should you go pack and get your 6-shooters out and get ready? Because, you got John Reed, aka the Brohammer, of course, and PJ. They're looking like they're coming to take people out or something.
Well, we'll see how this goes then.
So shortly we will be bringing on the crew to talk about the conference season as a whole and specifically about different parts of that puzzle. But in the meantime, it's been a couple of weeks.
A blissful couple of weeks.
But guess what is back, folks? Well, you don't have to guess.
And now it's time for Stump the Godfather with the venerable Paul Greenberg, brought to you by Microsoft Dynamics 365 Copilot.
That's right. You heard it.
Oh my God.
Stump the Godfather's back.
Oh boy. So excited.
Brought to you by Microsoft Dynamics 365 Copilot. This week's question, I think this is a good one too. So I got this. It's so cool when I get things that come into the inbox and I'm like, oh, I like this. I think I'm going to use it for Stump the Godfather.
This is a good one, given my English and journalism degree, for me to rip apart. So this is going to be fun.
Okay. So I'm not going to reveal the source yet, Sven. I will just say that it is not the one that you detested from a couple of Stump the Godfathers ago. This is a legit source, and you'll see. I'm not going to give it to you because then you guys start doing the Google searches to try to get the answer. So you're going to have to wait. You're just going to have to put your guess in. But this week's Stump the Godfather question. What percentage of companies are collaborating with Gen AI for marketing content?
First of all, before we get into that,
this is not a grammar test.
Do you see how freaky this whole thing is? Hey, Katrina.
Hey, hello.
It's been
you still
way too long.
Are you still like the funniest person from your 5th grade class? Is that what
I think she, you know what? Okay. She's very modest. I think she got that same award in 9th grade. Right. So here's the deal. This seems to be presuming Gen AI is an human entity of some kind. Right.
Yes.
Or right. Collaborating with Gen AI. You don't collaborate with
it's
Gen
a co-pilot.
AI. You use Gen AI.
Yeah, it's your co-pilot.
That's just marketing.
It's your wingman.
Collaborating with Gen AI.
All right. So let me.
None of them are collaborating with Gen AI. Now, how many are using them?
What percentage?
The answer is 0% for collaboration with Gen AI.
That's
right.
I'll give people a hint. That's not the real answer, but we'll keep moving here. And anybody in the green room, Dave Smith, if you want to put your guess in the private chat, put it in and we will make sure people know. But everybody out there, this is your chance.
This is all companies in the whole world. Is that what they're talking about?
This is a study done by a very reliable source, and it's about businesses, not about individuals using this stuff. Businesses using Gen AI to create their marketing content.
Using Gen AI, not collaborating with Gen
collaborating AI. Using
big
tomato.
Big no.
Give us your guess. What percentage guess?
The answer to collaborating with is 0. The answer
give us
is different.
Your percentage
is different.
Guess in the comments.
Gen AI.
And we will start the game off. And guess who? One of our analysts. Oh, one of our brave analysts. One of our analysts that we like a lot that has probably more gear than we do at this point. Dave Smith from the green room is kicking things off with 70%. 70% of companies are collaborating with Gen AI for marketing content. So says Dave Smith.
I will wait for other answers, and if there aren't any, then I'll give mine.
Come on. Oh, I see. The Brohammer just stepped into the private green room. So, Brohammer, what percentage of companies are collaborating with
using Gen AI?
Just roll with it, will you? Collaborating with Gen AI for marketing content.
I would have literally flunked English class if I had written that sentence.
Well, maybe this person did not go to Northwestern. Can we stipulate that and move on?
This person didn't graduate 3rd grade.
Okay, this is a rough crowd. So John, okay. John is asking a secondary question before he gives his answer. Although he did give an answer, but his first thought was, how many are using it effectively? See, once again, what's with all the stipulations? It's just the question.
Because these are dumb questions.
The question is right in front of our faces, people.
This is literally typical survey questions.
Why are you
so
shooting
broad.
the messenger? You don't have to shoot
I'm not
the
shooting
messenger.
you. I'm not blaming you for it.
Relaying the message.
I'm not blaming you for it. I'm blaming whoever that reliable source is.
Companies are collaborating with Gen AI for marketing content. We have
collaborating with 0.
We have Marshall using it. Okay. Marshall says words mean things. Marshall, we need answers to questions. That's what we need right now. Marshall, look at the screen.
Thank you, Marshall.
And just repeat after me.
See?
What percentage of companies are collaborating with Gen AI
0
for marketing content?
The answer is 0 for collaboration, but for use, there's another answer.
I don't care how frustrated you guys make me feel. This is not the last Stump the Godfather. I'm telling you right now. It ain't getting done.
I'll keep working on it. But it's all
right. So we got 70. We got 70% from Dave. We got like both ends of the spectrum. Wow. Now John just went up to 85. What the hell?
No,
man?
John was at 85.
No, he was at 5%.
No, look at the top. Go higher.
85.
Go under Dave Smith.
No, I like 5%.
No, he was at 85, but 5% effectively.
Okay, he's at 85. Okay. All right. Dave Smith is at 70%. The Brohammer, John Reed, is at 85%. Marshall is at 40% with another stipulation using.
Thank
Come on,
you.
guys. All these
Thank you,
English
Marshall.
majors.
Thank
It is
you.
what it is. It is what it is. All
Our
right,
Marshall
Marshall's
is
at
as good a writer
40%.
as he is he understands those kind of things.
All right. Well, we don't have time for all that understanding stuff.
And
All right. Jesus is coming in with the best one yet. 0%, since they don't have the manpower to execute the campaign with the Gen AI. Leave it to a bunch of analysts to take such a simple question and just make it out to be something that it really wasn't meant to be. What is Sven saying? Sven is on the fence at 55%. All right. I think we got enough. So the venerable Paul Greenberg, please, pretty please.
I'm coming in between Dave and John at 75.
All right. So John was
using it.
Dave was 70. John was 85. So you're coming in at 77.
A little closer.
77.5%.
All right. 75.
All right. We're wrapping this one up. This has been the most.
Look at Katrina's answer.
Katrina. Oh, good Lord. Yeah, you were the funniest person in fifth grade there, Katrina, with that one. All right. Let me just do a quick wrap up to make sure I got it all right. Dave Smith coming in at 70%. The bad boy VRP, the Brohammer, the co-founder of Diginomica. I can't think of any other names now other than John Reed. He's at 85%. Marshall's at 40%. Katrina is at, she doesn't know what AI is. Jesus is at 0% with some stipulation. Sven is at 55%. So I think we got it all. And you are at 75.
Yeah.
75%. And now Sven is chiming in with what are the players. All right. Now it's definitely time to end this segment. So the answer to this question, which will never be asked again in humankind, is you guys are all way too high, man. Way too high. And guess where I got that stat from? Deloitte Digital. They literally just came out with this survey. So that's why I could use it, because you couldn't Google it fast enough to put in the right answer.
Now, if you take the currently using plus the planning to deploy, it's 71%.
That was not the question.
Doesn't matter. Well, the question was completely wrong to begin with, right? So the question doesn't even matter.
My life is completely wrong at this point.
The question doesn't even matter.
All right, nothing matters. The whole world, not a damn thing matters at this point. Anyway,
that's right.
So that's the question, and that's the answer, and I'm sticking to it. That was the latest edition of Stump the Godfather, but not the last edition, regardless of the tomfoolery that just went down.
Yeah, but also read John's comment in the private chat at the last one. He's right too.
Well, let's see. If you count the marketers, all right. Moving on. Let's go to the introductions, because right now we've got our first two. I was going to say contestants, but our first two analysts,
our first two collaborators
to talk about
combatants.
To talk about what they've seen during the after Labor Day up until this point conference season. The aforementioned Dave Smith,
and
the Brohammer is back. John Reed. All right. You know, I'm actually tired of all you guys at this point, except for Dave. Dave was actually kind of nice. The other two, really not very nice to me.
We're off to a bad start. I have to say, we're off to a bad start.
Anything I can do so that Stump the Godfather has a very short life is great.
No, you're just prolonging it, because after this, people are going to like this. People, because I put this on clips, they're going to be, this is the greatest thing. When's the next one?
And then you'll get grief for every single question if it's improperly structured.
Hey, Sahil, you're late. You missed it. See, I could have used you. You're always a very good Stump the Godfather contestant. Anyway, so guys, let's talk a little bit about maybe just some high level initial thoughts of what events you've taken in and kind of what it's been like, and just your initial thoughts over from like after Labor Day events up until now. Dave, since you've been the nicest, why don't you start? Could you and let us know which ones you've been to?
Man,
and don't use the word collab. Which
Don't use the
was
word
that collaborated with, Dave?
well, I've been to some collaboration shows. If that works. Yeah, like since Labor, like this fall, like actually from like what, July, August, right? It just got crazy with shows. I mean, we had Dreamforce. I just got back from the Zoomtopia one, which is out in San Jose. They had Ludacris as the performer. Actually,
why didn't they have you? You could have done that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and then we all did Dreamforce, and then there were so many virtual ones. Like I just did virtually the Adobe Max shows. A lot of shows. This fall got crazy, and there's shows I didn't even know existed before. I'm like, what is this show, right? And then some of the names sort of repeat itself, right? It was kind of crazy.
So give us your impressions, just like general impressions of this event season so far for you.
It was all AI all the time, not to steal anyone else's thunder, but it was AI. I mean, there were AI snacks. It was just AI for everything, right? It was just like, I mean,
AI snacks.
Yeah, like
I don't
your
want
snacks
AI
can conversate with you now. You know, it got a little too crazy on the AI stuff, but it was like, but that was literally the main theme. Everything was conversational AI. Everything can help you boost your productivity. It was kind of nuts. But I must say, this year though, the buzz, the conference season buzz, especially Dreamforce, right? It was really, that energy was kind of back. I noticed the buzz everyone was kind of smiling and stuff again.
Speaking of smiling, John Reed.
It was really clean in San Francisco for Dreamforce.
Oh yeah, I will say that. John Reed, let us have it.
Well,
Man.
you know, nothing brings out the grouch in me like event season, but I would characterize it as highs and lows. I think there were some real highs. Obviously, seeing the likes of you all on the road is clearly a win for me. That those are the best times, right? I mean, seeing people you haven't seen for months and just the friendship, the connection, but also just talking about problems that everyone's facing and how we're going to contend with it. Because I do think that one thing's post-pandemic is there's still kind of it's not like back to the party action. There's a very real world vibe. There's geopolitical instabilities, there's supply chain instabilities, and customers are deeply aware of these problems. And so they're coming to the events to have fun, but there's a context. They're trying to solve real problems. And yeah, Dave's totally right about the AI thing, but I do think that created a little bit of a unfortunate gap with some of the realities customers wanted to talk about. And I did notice that gap. But on the happy side for you all, I think the CX revolution, the CRM revolution is complete now. Because no matter what show I went to when I was at Oracle Workday, I didn't go to Dreamforce, but we had team members there. I was at SAP Success Connect. I was SaaS cloud shows, basically. And I would always ask during these customer discussions that I would do, how does this project help you serve your customers better? Because every project has to pass that now. And that's what I mean by the CX revolution is complete. And you know what? All the customers had answers to that question.
Were they good answers?
Sometimes. You know, it's not, I don't think it's always easy, right? But there's a growing understanding that even if you're doing something that's about, you know, something for your employees to help them, you know, make their lives better, it's ultimately about your customers. Like, so in a healthcare context, I'll ask a customer that and they'll say it's about serving patients better. So basically you guys can run a victory lap because this CRM revolution is basically over now.
Good, then I can just finish my retirement now.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'll see you guys. I'm getting off.
But the big problem with Gen AI, of course, and I have a couple more comments on that, but I'll just say this real quick, is the big thing we were kind of hurt by is the fact that that all the announcements are basically pending. So the functionality is going to start hitting in the next month or 2 or 3. And then it's going to get a lot more interesting because we're going to get a look at what enterprise customers are actually doing with this technology in the real. So it was a little bit anticlimactic to talk so much about it when we couldn't really look at what customers were doing yet. So.
Yeah, I think also the other thing, given that the theme of almost all the AI initiatives was Copilot, that's messaging to reduce fear. Actually, it's not really. I mean, while it does have a legitimate basis, but what people are using it frequently for is what they're trying to tell everybody: it won't take your job, right? I mean, that's why they do it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, and they're very carefully making sure they say it. And one of the things that I've seen actually emerge started emerging, I think at Cloud World is where I saw it or heard it first.
Hold that thought. Know what else just emerged?
What? There she
Just
is,
emerged.
Ooh, wow.
Ms.
Ms.
Miller.
Miller.
That's going to be my new video entry.
no.
Is
Ms. Liz.
Miller
Liz.
emerging.
This is a Miller highlight.
Hi, Liz.
Yeah.
How we
So
doing?
it was just like the human element part started to come out. I think Oracle was commenting. They called it something which I don't remember, but they made an emphatic point at different times on the need for human intervention. And again, they had literally a phrase for it, but it's escaping me here. Liz won it for high school and college, Katrina. See, that's it. Funny.
Can we just take a quick moment though to bash the phrase co-pilot into the ground?
Yes, go right.
Please, folks, do not let Jen and I fly your plane as you would a co-pilot while you're taking a restroom break. Don't do that.
Well, you
It's
know
not-
what?
Maybe it gets to pick the music while I'm driving. Like I'm driving the car.
Yeah.
Maybe it's sitting in the passenger.
Co-pilot is really stretching
Listen,
stretching it, man. That's
Let
really
me also
stretching it.
take
Can I
that
just remind you guys? Stump the Godfather was brought to you by Microsoft Dynamics 365.
Great
Co-pilot.
products. Love the
No.
co-pilot.
Yeah.
Microsoft 365, Dynamics 365 Wingman.
Hey,
Right.
that was our
That's our name for that,
Yeah.
right? So
Zooms is called Companion, which I thought was interesting.
That's nope. That sounds
co-pilot.
a little creepy.
No.
Nope.
here's the thing,
A
though.
little
Nope.
creepy.
About 10 years ago, I was flying to Raleigh, North Carolina. And when we landed, the pilot got on the intercom and said, we didn't want to tell you till we landed, but I think it was the FCC requires us to land the plane automatically with none of our hands on about once a month, right? So they had literally, forget Gen AI, and they're already doing that,
Yeah. No,
right? So they're literally landing the plane without pilot interaction. So yeah,
no
all
one needs to tell
planes.
you that. That's not a required part of the script. Like put your tray table up. Yes. We didn't touch the plane when it was landing. No, but I will say with all the Microsoft announcements and when they were going through that kind of the co-pilot articulation, I do appreciate that they're like, listen, it's not going to take over the car. Like,
Right.
this is what we meant by it. Yeah, I don't love the name, but it was like everyone didn't Google after that. Like out came the Microsoft Copilot announcement, and then it was like everyone was already on the runway. But we were going to call our AI Copilot, so we're just going to go with it. I'm like, oh, for the love.
Hey, look,
Well, you
I'm
know-
kind of glad that they did go with it. So we only just have one term and not everybody coming out with their own term. So we have to try to remember every
They've
damn
actually
thing.
already
Dave
integrated
just
it
said there's
into
a
Windows.
companion.
Yeah, Companion. Yeah.
Well, Salesforce,
I haven't heard
Salesforce went
Wingman
with
yet, though.
Copilot.
I
So
haven't heard Wingman
I was
yet.
like, okay, if Salesforce is going to follow Microsoft's with the Copilot,
That's just their
Adobe,
one thing.
let's just
Salesforce,
kind of
Microsoft.
standardize on that and move on. I'm unless you're going to
Well,
use
again,
Wingman, which is what I think.
I thought it was just, to me, it was just a curated term that basically said it's not going to take your job, basically. So, and that's why they say Copilot, as opposed to Gen AI Predator, right?
Monster Overlord.
Right, Microsoft
Monster
Dynamics
Overlord.
Predator.
Hey, Liz, since you were trying to do whispered insights from Adobe Max, technical difficulties kind of kept us from doing that. But we John, were you finished with your overall thoughts of the season, or did we just hijack you?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's pretty much all we need to say at this point. I'd be happy to hear what Liz has to say, but I will say that from a generative AI perspective, I think what we are going to be looking for in the spring, which is going to be fascinating, is the impact of these industry specific large language models, and to what extent can we, through a variety of tactics, whether it's human reinforcement learning or something that they call RAG, which is more of a technical tactic
Right.
to improve these models.
Retrieval, augmented something, right?
Generation, yeah. To
Generation.
what extent will a combination of these techniques get us to a different place with accuracy of these models and the impact that they can have? And that's just an unanswered question right now. So I'm going to be really watching the spring season, but unfortunately, to to be continued. It's like a cliffhanger, like the fall event season ended on a cliffhanger because we really don't know how good these tools can be. The one thing I will get pissed about though is when people start talking, and they already are, about no hallucinations or whatever. Okay, fine. Maybe you can get rid of the psychodrama babble, but you cannot get rid of inaccuracies from these models. I'm
Right.
sorry, you can't do it.
Amen.
You can reduce it, but you can't get rid of it because it doesn't understand what it's saying. How many times do we have to go into this? These are not cognitive systems. But here's the good news. They can't take your jobs because they're not smart enough to take your jobs.
Yes.
So let's be happy about the fact that these models don't work the way they're supposed to,
We're
okay?
all
Hey,
co-pilots.
all right. Wait a minute. Can we give John an AI snack so he can chill out a little bit, and then we can hear
right.
Liz?
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
That's just another term
Okay,
for
let's hear what Liz has to I want to hear what Liz has to
marijuana
say about
dummy.
that. I'm
Right.
going on mute. I'm muting myself.
Liz.
Well, so listen, if I look at Max in a bubble, the event itself is always great. Like I love Max because as a marketer, I used to come to Max. Like I used to bring my design team to Max. I was the user that was like, I could make a font. Like I'm that nerd. So I love the creative suite. I use it, all this kind of stuff. So when you get to sit there and watch a demo, and I was telling Brent about this earlier in the week, like they're using AI to look at your real-time transcript on a video and pick out the filler words. When you sit there and use like, and all the filler words, it marks it in the transcript, and you can just go up with generative AI and be like, hey, Firefly, take out my filler words. Boom, gone. They're gone. Now, they haven't gotten to the point where they move the lip movement. So if you're really sitting there looking at the video like, oh my God, that person said and it's still there, yeah, you're going to be disappointed. But if you just got a 1-minute video that's popping out the door and you could take out all the the crowd erupted with just like, oh my God. Okay, so funny insider story. I'm sitting there in the Peacock Theater. I'm across the aisle and one row behind Shantanu Narayan, CEO.
I saw you, by the way. I was looking at the video. I saw you.
Oh my God, am I in the video like a weirdo?
I saw your head, and you were taking pictures and all that kind of
I got my bun up there. Yeah, let me do. So I'm sitting there and they're going through the demos and they're like, okay, and like now we're going to use generative fill to take this out. I could not stop from cursing and saying things like, shut up. Like when you're watching it happen, because first of all, Adobe ran live demos. So they weren't doing like the canned video and let's pretend I typed in a word, but you could tell from the cadence of how they were typing in the word, they weren't typing in the word. Like you've got the person up there and the demo, she was absolutely fantastic. She was like, okay, so y'all, my internet sucks here. So sorry, like, cause you could tell she was frustrated, but she got it done. And when it took all the ums out, you just heard the entire theater erupt because who wants to go through video editing and cut out the ums? It's like the practical things that you want AI to do. And I was literally cursing in front of the whole board and the CEO of Adobe. But I'm hoping that maybe they thought like, wow, she's a really excited customer and she really loves all these innovations. But I literally couldn't stop cursing.
Well, you were wearing that red jacket. So
I was wearing the red jacket. So it did kind of look like I worked there. So I was a plant. So there's all sorts of questions. But I will say the thing I really like that Adobe did about Max is they didn't forget that Max is a party. And it's a party for their creative people. And so they gave everyone the space to connect and network how they wanted to. It wasn't like these weird forced little like, everyone, you shall go and network with all the people who use our product and love it. Like it wasn't that weird, like forced speed dating experience. There were artists who were doing things on the floor. You could go and watch people screen printing. You could go and watch people going into dye sublimated issue. Like you could actually go and meet people who are doing something in a creative space that you don't necessarily even work in. And the conversations that you could overhear from all the creatives was almost like everyone exhaled all at the same time.
Can you do me a favor?
Yeah. Do you want me to go get you something?
No, could you tell the Adobe Max people to talk to the Adobe Digital Summit people?
Yes.
And bring some of that into that conference. Why is
that's
that so much better
I'm gonna be honest.
what we have?
No, I'm going to be totally honest. And you can ask the AR teams, like they're sick of hearing me. They are sick of hearing me say it because after every summit, I'm like, stop it. Summit used to be that same celebration of marketing. And it used to be that same celebration of marketers. But somewhere along the line, someone decided that marketers are really serious people and all we want to do is talk about data. Like it's this weird, like automaton
I
concept.
celebrate when I don't have to go.
Right. Like it was not fun. Right. And I think that
sucked.
and it was like, no, we're going to dive deep. Like, so remember like probably about like 8 years ago, Adobe had the whole like ad campaign. It was like left brain, right brain. Oh my God, Creative Cloud's all about that super creative right brain. Marketing super serious and left brain. And we've got, only Adobe can make the brains come together. And they just kind of took that persona too far when it comes to Summit.
Well,
they need to bring that joy back. They need to bring that, it's not booths where you go and look at data demos. It's like, let the data kids go and talk to the web kids and go talk to Firefly and go create something really cool. And
ultimately, look, it's one continuous it's basically each conference is a continuation of the prior one, and it's an ongoing thing. And that's how it should be viewed. And they do not view it at all that way.
They don't. And I think there's opportunity for that to change though, right? Because you're going to see a space where a new CMO comes in. You're going to see some of those changes. I think that you're starting to see some of the changes of how Adobe is starting to talk about itself as one company.
They did that in 2018.
Well, what the new CMO? They didn't have a new CMO.
No, not the new CMO. I'm just saying the whole plan was a continuous ecosystem and a platform and all three units became part of the platform and the foundation.
And they had to go actually rebuild it.
And they haven't done it. Now they're getting there. No, they're getting there. They're getting there.
And
content supply chain.
Hey,
but the thing you have to remember is also, Paul, they had to go and actually build it. They got caught in a little bit of that, dare I say, Salesforce trap, where they kind of aspired out loud, and then they had to try to get it. And when you aspire out loud and your technology infrastructure does not connect, you'd have to give yourself like multiple years to catch up to that aspiration. I would argue that AEP and their platform and the singular data model that they have with XDM gives them that foundation to actually build these new tools. So a tool like Adobe Express, that is built ground up. That is modern infrastructure. And it is a great little tool. I'll tell you, I use it on my phone. I love it. But when it comes to Max, the interesting thing, and I think, John, it kind of goes to something that you were talking about, like we want to AIify everything. And oh my God, it's going to be this great new, so sparkly. The audience at Max, it was like a giant exhale because it was that moment that they realized, wow, all that fear we've been thinking that Firefly was going to take our jobs. Because that's kind of what they heard in Summit. Right, was Firefly is so cool. You don't need creatives to do all this stuff. Yeah. Now we can personalize everything. And there was this tension there. Max was the exhale because what the message at Max has been is all those great things that are in your head, AI helps it get out of your head and into real life. And we heard from a designer who was like, listen, normally when a client comes to me and says, I kind of want this, I want this image to kind of look like this. She's like, and I want it to evoke this feeling and I want it to involve a forest. She's like, I will immediately think of 15 different scenes in my head that could evoke that same thing and be in a forest. And it might be a mushroom and it might be a fox and it might be there might be a bear, there might be a house, but I've got 15 different things and I only have the time to iterate one, maybe three.
All right. We got
Can I hijack the show real quick? Because I have to go in a second. I don't want people to think that I'm storming off in frustration.
But you usually do that, so
yeah. But also, I really wanted to ask Dave real quick about Zoom because Zoom's had so many ups and downs the last number of months with how they've played this whole AI narrative, and I'm just really curious what the vibe of the conference was, and if you think they were able to like really get across what they were trying to this time around, because they've really had a lot of stumbles of late, I think.
Well, I think the stumbles may be more so narrative generated than actual stumbles.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I think for the conference itself, though, I think is they're trying to now sort of marry the sort of the CX, EX collaborative sort of be that merging point with it, right? So they're doing all this, the adjacencies with CX and contact center and all that stuff. And so they're trying to add all these pieces to become more of a fuller platform. So they just added Zoom Docs, right? Which is sort of this collaborative modular document sort of framework, right? Which is not like Docs like Google Docs, which I was like, why the name Docs? Because it's not a document. It's a workspace, right? So they're trying to bring collaboration in the whole context of EX and CX in this one platform framework. So it was a positive conference. The energy was definitely back, and I think to your earlier point, I think it was more of a narrative about data and privacy that sort of took over. That was not actually what was happening.
All right, guys. This has been a lot of fun, and the Brohammer is storming off as we speak. So maybe we'll see him at a event near you.
Like he didn't leave though. He's like,
I know. Yeah. He just wanted to do a mic drop moment, you know.
Yeah.
He did.
I will say, Brent, my last comment about Max that I feel like I need to throw in. Max pre-COVID always had like beer and donuts and popcorn at Sneaks and donuts and popsicles. There was always those fun moments, and they remembered to bring them back. So pro tip to anyone doing events, don't discount the heritage.
Matter of fact, don't bring us those whack AI snacks. We want legitimate, real, edible snacks. All right, we got it. All right. All right, guys, thanks, because I see our next two folks are in the green room. So we thank Dave Smith, Liz Miller, and the long gone, lights going out, John Reed for joining us.
I see him
and we
walking
will
in the
see you.
background.
We'll see you
shadow.
guys.
And the shadow of John Reed.
Right. We'll see you guys at an event sometime soon, I'm sure. All right,
next week.
No, I won't be there. I won't see you. I'm not
All right.
going.
We'll see you. All right. Well, let me get rid of the
yeah, that's probably a good idea.
All right. All right. The last few minutes, we have, we've got a Pittsburgh Steeler fan, I know for sure. I don't know. PJ's a Boston guy. Never know what you get with those guys. But Bob Evans and PJ. All right, guys.
Hey, guys.
Good to see you.
Hi. Hey, how you doing?
Man, Bob, you got a lot of stuff in the background there. You got a lot of nice pictures and books and all sorts of things going on.
Well, Brent, thank you. You know, not everything about getting to be a seasoned citizen is nice, but a lot of things are.
Wow, a seasoned citizen.
I like
that's a fantastic way to put it. Thank you.
Yeah, PJ, are you home or are you at somewhere in a hotel room or something?
No. I'm in Boston, in Brooklyn, and you did mention who do I root for.
I did not.
So I'm sort of like a fair weather fan. So
yeah, that's
they're doing well. When they enter the playoffs, then I'll get interested. But I'll tell you something, and I'm teasing my Bostonian or whatever fan. Since I moved in 99, and just remember this, I moved to Boston in 99. All 4 professional teams have won at least once.
So you're responsible.
Yeah. Are you taking credit? Is that what you're doing here?
Pretty good.
Call me good luck, PJ. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for revolution or whatever in the soccer, but I'm not sure I'm that powerful.
No. Tell you what, PJ, I've heard you called many things. Good luck has never been one of them, but we'll move on from that. All right, guys. All right, so Bob, will you go first? You've been to a number of events since Labor Day because there's a lot of stuff going on. We saw you at I think we saw you at Dreamforce, right? And then I think I saw you at Cloud World.
Yeah, Cloud World.
Yeah, Cloud World. So give us your thoughts of like what you've seen and some of the things, good, bad, ugly, whatever. Let us
any conferences you went to. Don't have to be the ones we all
and let us know the conferences you did go to just to give us an idea.
Sure, guys. Well, again, thanks for having me. It was last week of August. I was at Google Cloud Next in San Francisco, and then mid whatever month it was, September in Las Vegas at Cloud World, and then couple weeks ago or last week in San Francisco for Workday. I thought that the mood at each of those 3 companies and their events was very buoyant. They had big crowds. I think there were 15,000 people at the Workday event, which Workday was very surprised about. So this enthusiasm for people to get back in person, I think has been great. The stuff that I heard from the companies too, you've heard this a million times, but I'm astonished at the speed with which these companies have sort of jumped onto the AI thing, to pivot these big complex organizations and align that with what customers want is not easy. So if it turns out it's a bust, there's going to be a lot of mopping up to do, but I suspect this is all going to turn out pretty well for those 3 companies and others.
So and PJ, I want to get your take on this too. The one that really interests me in particular, I know you both were there, was Workday. What was your take on Workday specifically? Because they're in a really, to me, and again, I don't really cover them much, but I know them from their beginning because it was all the PeopleSoft people went there, right? So what's your take on where they sit right now, given what you saw at the conference at least? Because I don't really have that good sense of that.
PJ, you first.
Well, I just need to, correct Paul. I wasn't at
I thought you were,
Rising.
but you cover it. So
yes, I covered them, and I'm not sure if you guys saw, but it was maybe a few days ago. Someone made me aware of that their stock went down by like 10% in one day, and the reason for that is it appears that they might start be hitting the wall because they are really strong in HCM and last week I was at Infor Now event, and Infor even sort of begrudgingly admits that somehow in the healthcare space, Workday is sort of eating people's lunch when it comes to HCM. But it appears that Workday might be reaching the point where they have exhausted all the large companies and they have exhausted now the HCM market. Now they have the financial product, but it appears that SAP, Oracle, and I don't know who else is strong in tier 1 financial space is sort of shoring up the customer. So it's not easy for Workday to sort of penetrate that market, and somehow they even reveal that the revenues are not going to grow as crazily as they did thus far. At the same time, I'm not sure whether Workday is even interested in tackling the SMB market.
Can't imagine that.
Wow. So that's what but I wasn't at the conference, so I cannot really say whether there was like whatever ebullient or whatever else, whether there was excitement or whatever else. I'm just not saying that maybe SAP and Oracle are getting their act together, and it will be interesting to see what's next for Workday, how they can continue to grow and sort of delight the investors and whoever in the future.
Yeah, I will, with respect, disagree with some of PJ's take on this. I think there's Workday has done a great job so far with HCM. Certainly, they've got a lot of penetration, as PJ said, among big companies. There's a long way to go there still, and they keep adding different modules. They're adding a lot of new capabilities. What they're doing in HCM. They've also got this very interesting and fast-growing planning business, which they sort of call the front door to their financials, because until recently, a lot of CFOs were nervous. I don't know about the cloud for financials, but let's do this planning thing. The planning thing comes in. They're able to see what's possible with this really modern cloud-native technology, and it's opened the door for a lot of financial customers. So they're adding to some industry-specific capabilities along with their ecosystem. But I think one of the big reasons for why I think whatever happened in the stock market, right, is off to the side. I think the reason customers continue to be extremely interested in Workday is they've got the technology, and now with the new CEO, who'll be the sole CEO in a few months, Carl Eschenbach, he has put a lightning bolt into that company. They are more energized, they're more focused, they're doing these like co-marketing, co-development things with AWS. They're getting bigger deals with Accenture, Deloitte, and so on like that. So I think Workday is not going to be some company growing in the mid to high 20s, but 19%, 20%. That's pretty good as they get to be a $7, $8, $10 billion company. So I think Workday's got a fantastic future ahead of them. And the event was very much, I think, a reflection of that.
Yeah. So, well, don't get me wrong. I'm not the one who's writing Workday off. That's for sure. I'm just saying I noticed that some financial analysts have some issues. So
Sure.
But I'm pretty sure that Workday is good, thinking of all the issues that they might be having and how to go to market in a better way. But the fact is also that even in the HCM space, SAP and Oracle, they also have something to offer now with this UKG and former Kronos and Ultimate getting together. There is also one strong competitor. So it's a very competitive place. So I guess the customers will have plenty of choices, and it's nice to have Workday there too. So
yeah, Hey, Brent, Paul, just one quick anecdote here, and PJ, I understand what you're saying. It wasn't your call on this, but if you look at sometimes the way the stock market behaves, right? Oracle announced its last quarterly earnings, which were, I thought, very strong across the board.
They got killed.
Their stock get knocked down by $35 billion, their market cap, 10% in one day. At the same day or two later, Larry Ellison's telling everybody, hey, every quarter we are signing $1 billion cloud infrastructure deal. So there's a dissonance, I think, sometimes between what the quants look for and their expectation. I think what's going on in the real world.
I'm with you there. Financial analysts have a very different worldview than, say, industry analysts do, and I'm not. Look, the best. There's one or two people over the years I've met who could bridge that gap. The best one I ever knew was actually Jason Maynard, who those of you going to NetSuite next week will of course see.
Yeah,
I mean, when he used to work, I think it was for Swiss Bank, and a couple others, and he understood both ends really well. Plus, not coincidentally, he was a great writer too, and I've been close to him ever since, but it's rare you see, how to put it, somebody who gets both, right? I don't get the financial side very well at all, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. It's not that I ignore it. It's just that I don't understand the parameters that go into why. I get where they're coming from. I don't understand why they think that has much to do with human beings, right? So,
hey, Paul, a few years ago, on an earnings call, the financial analyst kept asking Safra Katz, who started her career as she was an incredibly successful financial analyst. They kept asking, well, we're working on our models, and our models don't show what you're telling us is happening. And Safra said, look, I know all you guys are much smarter than I am and know much more about my company than I do, but consider the possibility that your models might be wrong.
That was so nicely and tactfully done, but
that's right.
What a diss.
So if you guys are looking at this part of the conference season, because it's starting to close really for the year now. There's a few, one I think NetSuite and a couple others maybe after that, and that'll be it. Take the whole thing for the whole year. Obviously, we all saw AI as the biggest theme at every conference to a fault, really. But let me ask you this question. Two questions. Question one is, besides AI, what did you see, each of you, and again, could be as widely varied as you want, as also a sub theme? And secondly, of all the conferences that you went to, which one, and only one here, no multiple choice, which one did you felt indicated something the most promising about that particular company?
That's great.
All right. So question one, second theme besides AI. Question two, of all the conferences, which one did you think foretold the best possibilities for that company?
PJ.
Oh, okay. Other than AI,
yeah.
Well, I would say the recurring theme, at least at a couple of recent conferences, has been sort of a platform play. And of course, AI is one part of a platform, but I'm noticing the vendors, and especially we can say Salesforce, Oracle for sure, given that Oracle offers everything from infrastructure all the way to applications, and even Infor last week. Even HubSpot, they didn't mention platform playing, but they don't have the platform at this time. You cannot really develop much on, and there is no low-code play or whatever else. But I know it will come in maybe a few years' time. But I understand when they say platform, they mean suite. Buy more of our modules. But these three vendors, they are really working on having a platform that is, of course, intelligent. It's easy to integrate. So there is still lots of work in progress, but you really need to integrate, and data is critical. And one more element that I've noticed, especially at Infor, and even Pega is doing that now, and not to mention SAP with Signavio, is process discovery and process mining and process optimization. So we are going sort of towards developing, offering people a platform and making all those tools that are there easily, or as easy as possible, usable.
Okay.
And that you can sort of innovate, but in a repeatable fashion. Not, right. I mean, some customer will need to develop sort of a rocket science thing that cannot really be applied easily for the others. But the point is to develop for everyone, even partners, users, to use those tools that are offered to them and to develop their own intellectual property, and even offer to the marketplace, App Exchange or Infor Marketplace or whoever else, for others to use it.
Okay. And finally,
and sort of the ultimate goal is to have sort of a self-healing, self-optimizing processes, and that kind. It is like a whatever nirvana.
Right.
Not sure we will ever reach that, but that's sort of the direction.
Okay, so would be... finally, PJ, also one second question for you, and then Bob, you go, is which one single company, one conference indicated in your mind the best, look to be the best possible future coming from, given what you're doing from that conference, for that particular company? Just pick one, though. You don't get...
Oh, boy, yeah, I need to pick one.
Yep.
Well, okay, I definitely wouldn't. I wouldn't bet against Salesforce.
Yeah,
and I think they are doing good things. I did like what Infor is doing, but on the other hand, I don't think they'll reach that kind of a force and right. level and that Salesforce can. You know, plus my birthday took place last week at the Infor conference, and there was like a paddle boat tour on the river. So I even told him, look, guys, you really didn't need to organize all that just for me.
And they did all of that, and you still pick Salesforce. So that
well,
yeah, I mean,
that's
look,
a big testament to Salesforce.
That means integrity, you know. So.
All right, Bob, why don't you close the show with that?
I will. Paul, please indulge me a quick side note. What PJ said about Signavio and the process mining at SAP, I think we're seeing that represents an evolution of these tech companies, right? They used to just make this stuff and push it out and say, look how cool this is. Now SAP is taking those Signavio process mining insights and making that a key element of their RISE program, so that potential new customers can say, I'm in this industry, I've got these issues, I want to do this really well. They can look now at the anonymized collection of all those process optimization results from other companies. So these tech vendors are starting to get smarter about using what they know to help sell the cool new stuff they're making. Okay. My two choices, Paul, to answer your question, outside of AI, I think multi-cloud, right? You might say, that's some dull old boring thing. But that ties into my second answer, which is Oracle. You got Larry Ellison. Guys, he turned 79 years old a few weeks ago. I don't think he's working for the salary. He can do anything he wants right now. He is so into what's going on at the company, and he made this open public challenge in some way. He said, we want to interconnect with everybody, like we did with Microsoft. I want to do that with Salesforce. I want to do that with AWS. I want to do it with Google Cloud, everybody up and down the line. And when somebody of his prominence takes positions like that, the other people would say, hey, piss off, who cares? I don't think they're going to do that. And it was that sort of customer-oriented approach from Larry Ellison, somebody who in the past has been mostly about the technology, less so about customers. He's become a big customer advocate.
Yeah.
I think you could feel that across the whole show. And that's why I picked Oracle Cloud World as the one that I think was most buoyant and exciting.
Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. You guys, that was great. What before we let you go, what's your next event? Do you have any more events for this year? PJ, what do you got left?
Well, next week I'm going to Sweet World, and I was supposed to come to the Analyst Summit for Variant, where I'm sure both of you would be, or at least one of you would be, but for some family reason and all that, I just had to tell them to cancel, and I'm a little bit unhappy about that, but things happen.
Yeah. Well, we hope everything is all right. So.
Oh no, it's not. It's just. My wife needs to be away, and someone needs to be home with a little one. It's not. It's not like a bad news. It's just, priorities.
It is what it is.
Doing your job, man. That's what's called doing your job. Hey, Bob, what do you got left this year?
Brent, thanks. I have no more tech industry things, but I'll tell you guys, I am looking for a stonemason conference because I think that is my next career. I have really gotten into these things of working with stone and rock and cutting it. It's pretty challenging, and I need to go somewhere where I can learn about the inner intricacies of the stonemason business. So if either any of you three have suggestions, I'm open.
Last thing I had to do with stonemasons was actually, I used to know the president of North American Cement Masons Union. And that's as close to stone as I got, which isn't even stone. Right. So
does watching the Flintstones count? Because that's pretty much
absolutely. Absolutely. I knew I was talking to the right people.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Bob, PJ, thanks again so much. This has been great.
Awesome.
Of course, you'll be back because you're not patriot. Well, sorry, PJ.
You will.
Well, as long as they're not doing good, we'll have you back. Yeah.
That's right.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. All right, guys. Take care.
Thanks so much.
Have a good one, guys.
All right.
Bye.
Man, that hour went by so fast. It's an hour and 8 minutes. That was really good stuff.
That's a long, short hour.
So we give us, we just got to give our takes, I guess. So why don't we? Yeah. Why don't you give your take about what you thought so far?
The only thing I'll answer is favorite conference, I think, just because in the interest of time, and next conference and last conference for the year. But, it's interesting. Bob and PJ both made awesome points. And if I had to pick two, those would be the two I would pick. However, I think I'm picking Salesforce because I think, unlike where Oracle and to Bob's point, the multi-cloud thing, Larry's all of a sudden customer advocacy and focus, the way he handled that speech, for example, things like that, which indicated more of a right-brained approach than he's ever taken to anything, were really compelling. And Oracle bringing in the human side, really compelling, and Redwood being everywhere, really compelling. But Salesforce had things to overcome as well as advance. Right. And
self-inflicted stuff.
Yeah, it was entirely self-inflicted. And the thing is, they went a long way in an incredibly cohesive fashion from product all the way to values, to both evolve, show the evolution of the company around AI and the trust layer and all that, but also to overcome the issues that they had shot themselves in the foot with. And I think that's why I think it was the most compelling, because I think they restored a pretty substantial amount of trust among those who had lost some in them. So Dreamforce was the most compelling conference for the year. And then The only other thing I have left is Ray Wang and CCE. However, the one thing I will tell you is there will be an episode of EWPK at
That was
CCE with Vicky Bowles, who is the VP of immersive experiences at Lucasfilm, and I will be doing an episode of Talking Headless live from there, which will be a bit of a departure from my normal version. More TBD on that.
Very cool.
So, Brent, what's your take?
I think I'm going to do a little dabble in both. I think as an overall, I think I'd agree with you with Salesforce for some of those same reasons. I think, they started off the year rough. Mark started off the year rough.
Yeah. Yes, he did.
And I think he rebounded from that. I mean, and I think it was a big learning experience for him, having to deal with, the layoffs, but then the initial handling of the layoffs and that infamous call that we've heard about. And, that didn't start the year off on a good foot at all. But, it does feel like, by the time Dreamforce came around, a number of things went the right way. I think the way that he got the city of San Francisco to get their act together to a certain extent around how the city was looking, because by the time we got there, because leading up to it, I didn't know what to expect about the city of San Francisco, what we were going to see, because all the things that we were hearing weren't the greatest. And then he said what he said about, be ashamed to leave. And by the time we got there, it looked pretty much like what I'm used to it. So that's a role of it. In the way that they talked about and rolled out the Gen AI stuff from the perspective of trust. And I think, between the keynote messaging around, the trust and kind of the retrenching of going back to the way Dreamforces were before they got really big, and Parker was back, and it wasn't a big show kind of thing going. It was a show, but it was a show with focus, and it was about we're back, you can trust us. You trusted us to go into the cloud initially because we're the forebearers of that, and you can trust us to go into the cloud with your AI, with your data, and use our AI, and to talk about it from the various perspectives. That I thought that Dreamforce was one of the best in years.
Yeah.
But I will say the best keynote was Larry. Larry, and Bob said it, 79, and he just comes out, and there's I don't know how many people, 10, 15,000. He comes out like it's just him talking to a couple of folks.
Yeah.
And to see somebody, kind of start the presentation and said, hold on, I'm going to grab a chair. Grabs a chair in the middle of, on that stage with all those thousands of people and just talk to the people. He wasn't doing, those fireside chats where we're an audience and they're just having a conversation amongst themselves and an audience is just looking. He was looking directly at the audience. It felt like he was in a conversation with the audience, and it was very casual, but very informative. And the way they rolled out their Gen AI strategy that was verticalized with healthcare, with all the Cerner stuff, but it touched on all the layers and it connected all the layers through the lens of healthcare. And it was just very casual and comfortable, but informative. And that's why his keynote was the best. And I don't think I would have said that about a Larry keynote 5 years ago.
No, 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have said that either. I mean, I agree with you. And the thing, I mean, hearing Larry say things like also our wonderful friends at Microsoft.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Was like, it was almost like an out of body experience just to hear him say it.
Well, in years past, he was shooting bullets at at all.
Oh, everyone, but not anymore.
No, he's giving them flowers, which is so. Yeah, we'll see if that. Yeah, I'll be going to Sweet World. I don't think he will be there, but we'll see how connected the themes are between Cloud World and Sweet World. But yeah, I think that was the most compelling keynote so far this year for me.
Okay.
All right.
So
that was like a supersized show.
Yeah,
but lots of good stuff. I learned a lot from the
great,
folks.
actually.
Yeah. So
lively bunch.
Yep. And now we got let's see, we got some playoff baseball and we got Thursday night football.
And what Thursday? Who are the teams that we're collaborating with on Thursday night?
Yeah, folks. I was wondering if we are going to get a Stump the Godfather reference before we ended the show. And yeah,
it might surpass Blueberry Bagels.
Well, all I know is join us next week where we will be playing Stump the Godfather again.
And I will be monitoring it for its grammatical structure.
And we will be watching Mini before we say goodbye.
Yes, we will.
All right, folks. Have a good one. See you later. We'll
Bye.
see you tomorrow. Friday the 13th.
Right. Few good minutes. Don Sherman and
Brent
Leary.
We're going to tell you everything you need to know about 2024 on
and you can
Friday the 13th.
Bet your money on it.
Yeah, don't do that.